One of the most important decisions a grower can make in the preparation for macadamia production is the selection of healthy nursery trees. The quality of a young tree has a significant effect on the performance of a tree after planting. With a lifespan of 30 years or more, there is no room for poor quality and only one opportunity to plant a healthy tree. Tree health, and most importantly disease management, begins at the nursery. Growers should only purchase their trees from a SAMAC accredited nursery. These nurseries are audited on an annual basis by the SAMAC technical advisors and tree quality is assessed. The growers can discuss the audit results with the nurseryman and request his plant quality rating. Growers should visit their nursery before purchasing their trees and once their trees are ready.
So over here we've got your trees just about ready for dispatch.
There are a number of quality factors to note when purchasing macadamia trees from a nursery to ensure the healthiest tree possible.
And then we go through this dispatch acceptance checklist over here. From leaves, what we want to see is we want to see nice dark green shiny leaves.
Leaves on young trees should be well developed and a deep green colour without any spotting, fading or imperfections such as nutrient deficiencies. There should not be any visible insect damage, especially on any new flushes. And there must be at least 2 hardened off flushes.
We've got the first flush at the bottom, coming up to a second flush, which at the moment is getting nice and hardened off.
Trees should be of uniform height and appearance, between 60 to 120 centimeters in height above the growing medium, trained to a central leader, and with stems as straight as possible. There should be no major kinks or visible damage to the bark or stem. Graft unions should be no higher than 40 centimeters above the growing medium. They should be strong and healthy without callousing. The graft tape should be removed unless otherwise requested by the grower.
Graft tape removal, you don't want to have any restrictions around the bottom here. Got the paraform on the top, this is not a problem, this stuff just expands. But anything around the base here you want to have taken off.
Root systems should be well developed with a large number of healthy root hairs. The presence of proteoid roots is an indication of a healthy root system. Roots should also not be pot bound, and the taproots should not be kinked, bent or spiraled in any way. Trees can still die in an orchard up to 3 years after planting if this is the case. Macadamias can be planted in a wide range of soils, but saline soils and shallow soils should be avoided. Soil samples should be taken to determine your pre-plant nutrient and lime requirements. Good land preparation is essential, and every grower should deep rip as deep as possible, but at least to 60 centimeters. This should be followed by a cross rip. This is the perfect opportunity to incorporate any lime into your soil, particularly for your lower layers of soil. We encourage growers to plant macadamia trees in ridges, just like these around me. There are a variety of ways of doing this, but essentially what you're doing is taking a layer of topsoil and putting it on top of another layer of topsoil, creating a much deeper root zone for that tree. Ridges improve drainage and aeration around the root zone and also reduce the chances of compaction with machinery moving up and down the interrow. Essentially what you're doing is creating a much more uniform orchard. There is no single perfect plant spacing, but plant population is dependent on the individual management style of the farmer. Choice of plant spacing depends on the slope of the land and the need for spray equipment access into the orchard. Industry standard is 8 by 4 meters, which essentially gives you a plant population of 312 trees a hectare. So here we have a young tree ready for planting. The marker is already in place to show where the tree should go. He's using a tree planting tool to make sure that the hole is centered and exactly where it should be on top of the ridge. You'll see he's digging a hole that is just slightly bigger than the bag. We don't want the hole to be too deep because we want to be able to put the tree in so that the top of the growing medium sits flush with the top of the soil. Very carefully opening the bag, making sure to disturb the roots as little as possible. And very carefully lifting the young tree and placing it in the center of the hole that's been dug. We use the tree planting tool again just to make sure it is centered. Keeping the tree upright as well. We want the tree to be as straight as possible. You'll see in this instance, the farmer requested that the grafting tape remain on the tree. So he's removing the grafting tape. And there you can see a nice, clean, neat graft union on this tree. Excess growing medium that remains in the bag, put that into the hole. Very carefully water the tree. We want to remove any air that is at the base of the tree. In this particular case, the farmer is applying 10 litres of water, but you can apply anything up to 20 litres of water to a young tree on planting. Very carefully filling the soil back into the hole, making sure to disturb the tree as little as possible. We want to make sure that the soil is leveled off and the tree is nicely firmed into the soil at the top of the ridge. The optimal time to plant young macadamia trees is in spring, from September to December. Avoid planting in midsummer, as heat can cause unnecessary stress to the young trees. Mulching should be an ongoing practice from the day of planting, as moisture retention and reduced weed development are hugely advantageous in promoting better growth in the early years of a tree's life. Most types of plant matter will do, but should be fairly well decomposed. If not, additional nitrogen will need to be added. With regards to nutrition, most experts advise that you don't fertilize immediately after planting when irrigating with micros. We advise waiting 3 to 6 months before the first application. However, when drip irrigating, you can start fertilizing immediately after planting. In very windy areas, some cultivars may require staking to prevent them from being blown to one side by prevailing winds. Care needs to be taken not to tie the tree too tightly to the stake, which could cause damage to the stem. In summary, we hope we have convinced you to purchase your trees from a SAMAC accredited nursery, plant on ridges, and that you have gained further insights into the best practices for planting a successful and productive macadamia orchard.